This is the inside of the family dollhouse. It's a collection of items that my family and friends have given to me over the years, since they know that I'm a miniature collector. Most of the items belong to my mother's side of the family. Her mother had a trunk that was full of miniatures, and when she passed, my mother made sure that I received the trunk. Most of the dolls were in the trunk, and most of the furniture in this house were from the trunk. This was my grandmother that owned most of the dolls and the furniture. This was my grandmother on my father's side. This is my mother. The dolls came from my grandmother's estate on my mother's side, as well as the furniture in this room. My grandmother on my mother's side raised her family as a rancher in North Dakota Badlands. And this is a picture of the family during the Depression. Her father, his wife, and their 4 children. And on the back it tells who each person is. The little boy above the mantle was my father's brother. He drowned when he was 12. And this was a calendar that belonged to him. It's very special. He put his name in the back. His father, who was my grandfather, was in World War I. And this is his baby ring on the dressing table. The perfume bottle to the left of the fireplace belonged to my grandmother on my father's side. And the dolls in this room belonged to my grandmother on my mother's side. The little cedar chest was given to me by my mother. She purchased it when she worked at Yellowstone Park in the 1930s. The dining room has a coverlet that was made by a member of my grandmother on my mother's side of the family. And it's documented on who the person was. It's underneath the tablecloth. The war patches to the left and right of the fireplace were my dad's patches that he wore on his war uniform in World War II. This is my father. The tea set in front of his picture he picked up in India when he was in the war and brought home, and when I was born he gave that to me. The little brass king in the china cabinet was a Shriner's piece that he gave me. The little girl above the fireplace is my grandmother on my mother's side. The pincushion bird on the fireplace belonged to my mother. The furniture in this room was part of the trunk that came from my grandmother on my mother's side, came from her estate. The kitchen is my favorite room. The walls are painted blue to repel flies. That's what was done in the Victorian era. The pewter plates to the left of the stove were given to me by a dear friend, Marilyn. I dearly love them. They're the border around the edge are dogs running with a little girl in the center. The tea set is a very special piece. It was given to me by my dad's cousin's wife when I was 12 years old. She said she wanted me to have the tea set because she knew that I would always take care of it and have it. The bird came from my grandmother on my father's side. It was always in her kitchen when I would go to visit The last piece is a frozen Charlotte doll that was given to me this year by a friend that I'd had for 35 years. He knew I collected dolls and had doll houses, and he gave me that doll in August of this year, and he unexpectedly died in October. A great thank you to my friend Christopher Alleman for helping me with the videotaping of this house and putting it on YouTube, and my son Austin, who also helped with the YouTube operations. Thanks.